Welcome to Eric's Perspective. Joining me today is the talented artist, Sam Pace. Sam, thank you so much, man, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember, how did we first meet? Do you recall? I think might have been at the gallery I had in Santa Monica. Do I have that right?
Yeah. One of my mentors, Bill Pajaud, was showing there. And a friend of mine, Michael Massenberg, was there too.
Excellent. Yeah. And Michael has been a guest on the podcast too, and William Pajaud is kind of like a family member to me as well. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
He was instrumental in a lot of people's artistic careers, right? I mean,
yeah, really. Yeah. It was crazy how I met him, and I found a postcard or advertisement for a show that he was having.
Oh.
And I really liked the figure on it, and so I just kept it, and I kept it for a few years. And one day I showed Michael Massenberg. I said, "Man, I'd sure like to meet this guy." And he goes, "Oh, that's Bill Pajaud. He lives right down the street." So I said, "Well, you got to take me over there. Let's go." He said, "No, not right now. We'll go." And finally, I made him take me over, and the rest is history.
Oh.
When you went to visit him, plan on staying the whole day.
Oh, right.
You're not getting anything else done.
Did he? Obviously, he must have had you in his studio and everything.
Yeah. He always, what I remember about him, he always had a pen in his hand. And while he's talking to you, he's sketching it the whole time.
Oh, wow.
He would always say, "Sam, you got to keep working. You got to keep working. Always do something every day." And I keep that in mind.
Oh, and he lived to that. I can recall him working every single day, and then it created a inventory problem for him. He got so many.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah, he really was.
Yeah, he had sketchbooks from 1952. He said, "Bill, I was born in 1952.
And the incredible thing is he's doing that while he's working at the Golden State Mutual Insurance Company as vice president of public relations, and utilizing his connections in the art community to build a really nice collection over there.
Yeah. We found out later that his wife is related to a good friend of mine.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
June?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. I saw an old picture, and it had June's maiden name on it. It said, Cognalati. I said, "That's an unusual name."
Yeah, sure.
I said, "I have a friend with that same name. I'll bring him by one day." One day I brought him by. Sure enough, they're cousins.
They're cousins. Wow,
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Small world.
Small world. It's always demonstrated. It seems like almost every other week or something.
Yeah.
So, Sam, where were you born?
Technically, I was born in Palestine, Texas.
Oh, okay.
But I left. My dad was in the service, and I left when I was 6 months old.
Oh, okay.
And
came to California then?
Yeah, we came to California and got long roots to California.
Is that what drew your family to California?
Yeah.
The folks that are already here?
Yeah. Get out of the deep south.
Right, especially at that time,
At
right?
that time,
in the 50s, man.
Yeah. I'm so glad they did.
Oh, yeah, right. Ku Klux Klan and all these terrorist groups going around. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. My dad would always threaten us by, "I'm going to send you back to have you picking cotton."
How many siblings do you have?
I have one brother and 3 sisters.
Okay, and they're all out here as well?
No, my sister. I have one sister in Tacoma, and the other 2 are in Rancho Cucamonga.
Oh, okay.
And my brother he's like a nomad, so right now he's in Washington, Mount Washington.
Oh, Mount Washington.
Yeah. He's a teacher. Yeah.
Oh, Oh, okay. So what branch of the service was your dad in?
The Army.
Oh, okay.
Army. I could never get him to go camping.
He had had enough of that while he was in the Army.
Dad, you want to go camping? Boy, I was in the Army.
Last thing he wanted to do.
Yeah. That was the last thing he wanted to do.
So can you remember that moment when you kind of discovered you had this tendency towards art? You wanted to express yourself?
Vividly. I remember I was sitting at the drawing on a coffee table, and I drew a cowboy. I showed my mom, and she just raved over it. And I said, "Oh."
Excellent. About how old were you then?
I was 6.
Oh, wow.
6 years old. Yeah. And I just kind of kept it going, and then it got a little better at it, but not great,
Yeah.
But I could always make money in high school. By
How did you do that? How did you make money? You were selling the drawings, or you were
I
commissioned, kind of, so to speak?
I would, back then everybody carried the peaches, the yellow folders.
Oh, okay.
And with the athletes on it, or whatever they had on it, and the hippie era, I would just draw psychedelic stuff, and hot rods for the guys, and people would pay me a couple $. To do it,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And about how old were you when that was going on?
I was in high school, so I had to be 15, 16 when I entered high school. Yeah. I was a year behind everybody else, age-wise.
And when you finished high school, did you go to art school at all? Did you?
I did, but that's a long story. I got a scholarship to Art Center, but it was in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was in martial arts, and I was like getting pretty good at it.
Okay.
And then it became an obsession.
I see.
And on the weekends, I kind of work out, and I said, man, I got to figure out a way to move to Los Angeles, because I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my parents, they weren't going to have it, and I said, man, but I remember when I was in high school, how they take you on the college campus tours.
Right.
And they took me to Trade Tech.
Oh, okay.
And I remembered that. And I said, well, I'll change my major to graphic arts, or it was commercial arts then.
Wow.
And they said, and I said I could make more money at, commercial art than fine arts. And my dad was thinking about, well, I don't have to pay this high tuition. So, you go ahead, but you're on your own if you move out,
Okay.
So
And did you move out?
I moved out. I lived in the dojo for, I think, 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
So for those in the audience who may not know what that is, that's martial arts related, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is?
It is the karate school. It's the actual building where you train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you reconcile the two different paths you were going down, the martial arts and the commercial arts? Were you able to, for a while, at least do both okay, or how did that work out?
It worked out okay because it kept me out of the draft.
Oh, this is the Vietnam War?
Oh, yeah. I was eligible. First, I got away because I wasn't old enough.
Okay.
And then when I turned 18, and that just kind of panicked, And I remember coming home every day, looking in the mailbox, seeing if that letter came.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to Trade Tech, and my dad cut me off with money wise. So I would I could catch the bus to school, but I had to hitchhike home.
Oh wow, okay.
Which
was it a good distance?
Yeah, pretty good distance. Yeah. But it was okay. I was young,
You handled it okay.
Yeah. I've done worse than that. I've been in Hawaii with 11 cents in my pocket.
Oh, no kidding.
And a one-way ticket. So I'm going to Trade Tech, but I'm going to karate tournaments, and I'm, getting a little name for myself. Oh. And so I said I'm going to take a semester off from school. And about a month goes by, and I get a letter, and my numbers, my numbers in the lottery now.
Oh, right.
And I said, oh, man, I'm gone, And about 2 weeks later, Nixon ended the draft.
As you described that, I ended up doing a similar thing.
Yeah.
My number was high, actually.
Yeah.
So I wasn't drafted, and I was kind of anxiously awaiting that letter too. And then Nixon ended the draft, and then that was the end of that. So
yeah.
I looked up. My brother, I'll have an older brother. He wasn't so lucky. He ended up serving in Vietnam for a year.
Yeah. If you were the only son, you didn't have to go. So I would always tease my brother and say, "I'm going to knock you off."
Exactly. So I'm assuming then you had, as long as you were in Trade Tech, that was a college exemption then, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's what kept me
kept you out of the military.
Yeah. And then I dropped out for a little while, and for a long while, and then I went back.
And what prompted you to go back?
My mom, she kept bugging me about going back. But I wasn't painting or anything. I was just so involved in the martial arts thing.
I see.
And my mom would always say, "You're going to mess up your hands and you won't be able to paint." She was right about that.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. Making the impact, I guess.
Yeah. Getting fingers busted.
Oh, yeah.
Knuckles and everything else. I feel like I played in the NFL for years. Right. When I wake up sometimes in the morning.
Yeah.
And when I was doing it, it was bare fist. Now they have their, unless you're doing MMA, you wear pads, a helmet.
Right.
Pretty much like tag to me. But
you prefer it when it's not.
Yeah. In fact, I'm probably one of the pioneers of MMA.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I've been around that long.
Oh, wow.
It started out as full contact, and then it kind of evolved. Now, MMA, I think, is like the child of full contact.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, I know there was like a competition for your time between devoting yourself to martial arts and also your visual arts. But was there anything about the martial arts that informed or made it a little bit better for you as a visual artist, would you say?
Just the discipline.
The discipline.
The discipline in it, because I had none before I started. And when I decided I was going to paint full-time, I said, well, I'm going to apply the same principles to my work as I did when I was doing competition. So I pretty much at least put 4 hours a day to 8 hours, sometimes longer.
Oh, okay. I've heard some artists say that while they're doing it, time doesn't even exist.
Yeah, that's very true.
Before you realize it, those hours have gone by.
Yeah, I'll go in like 6 in the morning, go in the studio, and then when I come out, it's dark. I said, oh, I didn't realize I was in here that long.
Yeah.
Put on the music, and you just go into another zone.
So when you went back to, you went back to Trade Tech after being away for a while?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So was there a different focus? Like, for example, when you first got there, you said commercial arts. Did you still pursue commercial arts when you went back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And went out, and I freelanced for a while, and that wasn't working for me. Probably, I hate to say it, but my skills weren't that, and computers were coming in to it, and I just couldn't really. I did basic stuff on computers.
I see. And you never really got into the computer thing, because I know there's some artists that really go all out with the computer.
Yeah. No, I've never really gotten into it. I don't. For me, it's not creative enough, or I have to have my hands on it.
I can understand that for sure.
Yeah.
And do you have, and did you have then a favorite medium? And do you have a favorite medium now?
Then I did a lot of watercolors from the beginning.
And that was William Pajaud's specialty.
Yeah. And then I kind of moved to acrylics, and that's where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite medium now is actually assemblage.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was after meeting Charles Dickson.
Okay. And Charles also was a guest here at the podcast. Really? Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah. It's up there. So if you want to check it out, please.
Yeah.
He's incredibly talented.
No kidding. He's scary talented.
Talented. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So he's the one that influenced you to go in the direction of assemblage.
Yeah.
And so I remember hearing when John Riddle passed on, his daughter was talking about, telling funny stories, and how he's dumpster diving. He's like pulling these things out of the dumpster. And do you engage in stuff like that? You got to do these films?
I do.
Yeah.
A few times friends have been with me, and I'll pass by somebody sets out trash. Like, I was carpooling to work one day, and my passenger, I just stopped in the middle of the street and ran over to this trash can and pulled out a bass drum.
Oh, no kidding!
threw it in the back.
That's a big piece of equipment too, right?
Yeah. It had a big hole in it, but I took care of that.
Oh yeah, that's just the remedy by the head, right? It's just the head that's got the hole in it, right?
Yeah. It turned out to be a nice piece.
Excellent. So you converted that into a work of art.
Yeah, I did.
So obviously, then there's a big influence of music. When did that begin?
From the time that I can remember, music has always, have musicians and not my immediate family, but relatives, uncles, and cousins that are musicians. And that was kind of on my mom's side, the kind of way everybody went toward the arts or sports.
Okay.
My dad's side, more sports.
Any particular sport, by the way?
For my dad was boxing.
Boxing.
Yeah.
Oh, then I can see the influence with the MMA.
Yeah. He taught me well.
Did he give you boxing lessons?
Yeah.
Okay.
From the time I was a kid.
Oh, okay. That must have come in handy, though, in case anybody wanted to try to bully you.
Yeah, it sure did.
I kind of wish I had that.
Yeah. Because you weren't going to come home and say you lost.
Oh, no, absolutely. And that would shock the person that's trying to bully you, right? All of a sudden, they find themselves on the ground.
Yeah.
Do you play any musical instruments?
No, I played trumpet for a little while, and I mean a very short time. But I never really. Then I didn't have the discipline to study.
I see.
I regret that too. If I could trade talents, I would.
You would go back and start playing the instrument, specifically the trumpet.
That's debatable now.
Okay.
Between piano, saxophone, and trumpet.
Oh, okay.
I was a big Miles Davis, Lee Morgan fan. And nobody. I think if Lee Morgan. My personal opinion, if Lee Morgan would have lived, he would have outshined Miles Davis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was definitely talented, no question about it.
Yeah. They were both equally talented.
Sure.
But I'm more partial to Lee.
Yeah. And I noticed this piece that we have between us is John Coltrane.
Yeah.
I just, since we're talking about the music part, he was speaking of consummate musicians, man. Oh my God. He was the guy, right?
Yeah, he was the ultimate. Everybody patterned themselves after
Oh
him,
my God.
or influenced by him,
Sure.
I should say.
Absolutely. And you did this wonderful, can you tell us a little bit about what prompted you to do this? And it looks like a recent piece. You just did this last year, right?
Yeah. I was doing it. I wanted to do one of Train. I had done a collage painting, and I wanted to do just a painting to complement the piece that I started painting, and then I messed up, so I painted everything black, and I said, but it was a little spot of white on it, so I just kind of did a ghostly figure.
I think it's really cool. It kind of reminds me of, he's like on stage and everything's dark, but there's a light shining down.
Yeah, that was the
idea?
The idea, because the original picture is like that. It's a black and white photograph.
And is that acrylic?
It's acrylic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very nice piece.
Thank you.
And there was one artist that I talked to. He was an abstract painter. And what he would do is play Coltrane or Miles Davis or Dizzy Gillespie or whatever, and sort of channel the music through himself, and kind of translate that into colors and shapes and so forth. Yeah. I noticed you did it as a subject matter, a really consummate musician, but do you ever play the music and the music itself just kind of flows and helps you to
all
create
the time?
Okay.
One of my favorite subject matter is Billie Holiday. I don't know. People are probably tired of seeing my Billie Holidays. But
you don't tire of doing pieces.
Yeah. I don't get tired of it.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, she was fantastic, and her famous Strange Fruit rendition. I mean, that's incredible for her to come out with that. So back to the assemblage, besides that drum that you did, are you still using other musical instruments, or are you limited to that? Are you doing more than just the musical instruments when it comes to sound?
I'm doing, right now, concentrating on musical instruments.
Mm-hmm.
For years, I had this vision of having a show that consists of nothing but art made in instruments made into art.
Oh, okay.
And so that was my New Year's resolution, was to finish that project.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it sounds like you just actually began it, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I have. I kind of started a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
I have two guitars, and one is currently on display at Watts Towers Charles Mingus Gallery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the other three pieces are at home.
Okay.
And now I need Charles to help me. Charles. I'm gonna take welding lessons from Charles
Dickson. Yeah. Oh, okay.
To complete my one of my pieces.
Wow, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to involve welding. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you got a piece at we should say Charles Mingus was one of the top bass players ever, right? And
right.
There's no question about it. So you have a piece at the Watts Tower. That's awesome. Yeah. How long would that be up?
I think until February.
Okay.
I know they scheduled me to do an artist talk there.
Oh, okay. When is that? Do you know?
It's in February. I want to say February 9th. I would have to look at my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can make that available to our listeners and viewers so that they can be sure to come and hear you do your artist talk. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, but at the same time, obviously, you're still painting because you did this wonderful John Coltrane rendition. So when you're painting, what subject matter are you focusing on there?
When I'm painting, it's music too.
Oh, okay.
Right now, I wind up I'm working on 4 or 5 things
At the same time?
at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I know a lot of artists, by the way, do the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get bored
Yeah.
or kind of I need to take a break
Right.
from, and then you switch to something else.
Yeah.
And right now I'm working on collage pieces,
Oh, okay.
but there's music involved. And so,
Oh, okay. So just for our listeners and viewers' edification, a collage is elements that are attached to like a canvas or a board. It's more two-dimensional thing. Assemblage, on the other hand, is more three-dimensional, almost like a sculpture put together with found objects.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, man. I think that's like really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know John Outerbridge. Did you ever have any encounters with him? He was a really cool guy.
Oh, I love John.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was. He had good stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he did a piece that I had in my gallery, speaking of music. In fact, it had a musical title, B flat and something or other. I forgot the exact title, but it was musical. And the piece itself was wood, and I kind of get the impression that even though it kind of looks like a person with hair on the top and everything, it almost looks like it's a flute with all these little holes you could kind of use.
Okay.
I mean, you couldn't really literally blow into it and make a sound, but it kind of looks like you could.
Yeah.
So he had that music connection as well.
Yeah. When I moved back from Europe, I wanted to get in touch with being like a community of artists, you know. And so I didn't know where to start. So I go to the Afro History Museum for the first time.
Is that the one in the Crenshaw Baldwin Hills Plaza?
No, this is
Cam?
the one, Camp.
Okay.
Camp,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm walking around, and one of the docents I was talking to her, and she invited me back that night.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stuck around and came back, and it was incredible. And it was John Outerbridge's show.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a live jazz band, so I was at home.
I bet.
Yeah. And then what to me was the ultimate thing was he walks on the stage and he pulls out a flute out of his pocket and he starts playing with the band.
No way. John Outerbridge did?
John Outerbridge did.
I never knew that, man. That's a revelation.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So
Wow. And he sounded good, I'm assuming.
He sounded really good.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The bridge.
I said, man, if I could do that.
That'd be awesome. I'm totally envious now.
Yeah, me too. I was.
I would be too, man. No question about it. Wow, I'm sorry. I missed that.
Yeah. And that was the night I met Michael.
Michael Massenberg. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Cedric Adams?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you met him then as well?
Cedric introduced me.
To
to
Michael.
him. Yeah.
Okay.
I was at the. I wanted a glass of wine, but Cedric is standing by the bar, and he's just staring at me, and I'm thinking, who is this guy staring at?
A stalker.
Yeah. And I kept thinking, well, I'm not going to go. And I said, I want a glass of wine, so I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
And he goes, you don't remember me, huh? And I said, no, sir, I don't. And he goes, Cedric Adams. I was a student of Reggie Boughton, who was a good friend of mine. I said, oh. Then I acted like I remembered him, but I didn't.
I think we all have done that in our day.
Yeah. But he introduced me,
cool.
It was good that I met him because he introduced me to everybody else, the whole community.
Oh, wow.
So
that's amazing.
I gradually kind of worked myself in there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And now I'm glad you brought that up. So you were in Europe for a while. What part of Europe did you go?
I was in France and Paris and the Latin Quarter. I stayed in the Latin Quarter.
And what was that like? Were you there studying art or?
I was a bum. I was a bum. It was one of my adventures, as Michael would say, adventures. I just did crazy stuff for no reason.
So how long were you in France?
A year.
Wow.
A year.
That's a pretty good. Did you pick up the language? Were you able to
very
speak
little.
A little bit?
Yeah. And it's been so long now, I've probably forgotten
A lot of
whatever I learn. If I hear it, kind of comes back. But
and did you pick up anything that you could use in your artistic endeavors?
Yeah. Just painting, in general, because I met a few artists there, and we would always hang out.
American or French?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Everybody would paint all day and then meet up at the cafe in the evening, and we'd hang around talking about art or life and what was going on in the world.
Oh, okay.
And then go sleep for a few hours, wake up and paint all day.
Oh, okay.
Then I need a drink, so I go meet the group.
And were you painting in a studio or outside?
I was painting. I lived in I guess nowadays it'd be called an Airbnb.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but it was one room with a sink and a hot plate.
Okay.
And the bathroom was down the hallway.
I see. Like a group bathroom.
Yeah, group bathroom, shower. And,
I see.
So I don't know if I could do that again, but I was young.
Yeah. So when you came back to the U.S. from France, about when was this, by the way?
This was in, it was in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
88 to 90.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and what about
88?
What about Hawaii? You were there with 13 cents, man. That's
11 cents.
11 cents, excuse me.
That's a good story, too.
Oh, no, please share if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I don't. There was a karate tournament in Hawaii. And so I bought a one-way ticket. And when I got there, I didn't have any money, but I had planned on winning the money that they were giving away.
Oh, okay.
And so I had a friend that I was supposed to meet at the hotel, and I was going to crash in his room. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't find him. So I walked around all night.
Oh, no.
And then I said, I got to get some sleep if I'm going to fight the next day.
Yeah, sure.
And so there was a parking lot with tour buses on it, the open air tour buses. Mm-hmm. And so I tried to sleep, crash in one of those, but bugs kept biting me. So I said, man, I'll never get any sleep.
Yeah.
So there was one bus painted white. It looked like one of the old-time school buses. And I said I could get in there. And so I went to the driver's side, pushed the fly window open, pulled the handle, opened the door, went inside, crashed till the next day. And I said, it was about 6 a.m. I said, I better get out of here or they think I'm trying to steal something.
And so, you were able to get out without?
Without incident.
Oh, excellent.
And so then around 10 o'clock, I go to the tournament. I see the tournament promoter, and I said, you might as well sign that check over to me because I'm winning. He kind of laughs, and a few hours later, I was walking out with the cash.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So you won.
I won.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, and it was in Maui.
Maui, okay.
Yeah.
And with that money, you were able to stay longer? And
Yeah. I stayed a week longer.
Oh, okay.
A week longer, and then I get claustrophobic in Hawaii, so I wanted to fly to the bigger island. So
oh, okay.
I flew to the bigger island, and walking down the street, I saw a poster, and I missed Miles Davis by a day.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I could have. I wish I would have thought of this.
Yeah, that
earlier.
would have been really enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
Wow. And so you were in Hawaii for approximately a week,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And you came back to California.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I bought a car going to Hawaii. The first time I went to Hawaii, when I came back with money.
Oh, okay.
Buy a car.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And do you compete now?
No.
Okay.
No. I want to, but I know the reality of it, I'd probably wind up in Cedar Sinai.
The mind is willing, but
the
body's just not following along, right?
Yeah.
I understand. Oh gosh, do I understand?
Yeah. It's hard for me to even go watch because I want to.
It inspires you to go out and do something.
Go out, yeah. Or I get excited when I see something, that old school or or some good kick or punch.
Yeah. So other than Pajaud and some of the other artists, is there any other artist that stands out as a major influence on your work?
I'm an avid fan of Basquiat.
Ah, okay.
And he just passed away.
Not Radcliffe Bailey. Huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
Radcliffe Bailey.
work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was good because I couldn't think of his name. Radcliffe Bailey. I love his work.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
In fact, he influenced the piece that I have in Watts Towers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mean the one you talked about earlier that's in the Charles Mingus?
Charles Mingus Gallery.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, fantastic. So other than the assemblage and the paintings, are you involved in anything else artistically? Do you have any, in addition to that, do you have any shows coming up that
no, I'm working on it. I've done a few pop-ups this year, but I decided that's not for me.
The pop-up.
Yeah. I don't get anything out of it. So
right.
Now I'm just working on showing in galleries, which is my preference.
Okay. And you had it shown in several galleries.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I have.
And last year, did you have any shows?
Last year.
That would be 2023.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
My memory's not that great anyway.
Yeah, no. Sad to say, I experienced the same thing. Wait, where did I put those keys? I was just looking over your shoulder at the piece behind you. That's the background is red, and is that any particular musician, or is that just a musician?
Yeah, it's Ornette Coleman.
Ornette Coleman.
Yeah. I took it from a black and white photograph. That's where I get a lot of my ideas, from black and white jazz photographs.
Oh, okay. And I'm sure there's a lot of those out there. I used to have shows of photographers' work of jazz musicians.
Right.
I remember one time I had an exhibit that included a photograph of Sarah Vaughan when she was really young. Yeah. And most people, the photographer would cover the nameplate and ask them who they think that was. And nobody could, I shouldn't say nobody, but a few people could actually realize that was Sarah Vaughan, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she was.
I think I know which photograph you're talking about.
Right. She's slim and trim.
Yeah. She's gorgeous.
Gorgeous, yeah. Not to criticize how she ended up.
Right.
It was a lot different than.
Yeah. She was older.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody changes.
Yeah, absolutely. But Kenny Burrell comes into the gallery, man. It was incredible.
Wow.
And he brought his son, and at the time, he was, I think, teaching at UCLA.
Uh-huh.
And this particular photograph was of him at age 17 with McCoy Tyner.
Oh, wow.
The two of them were teenagers playing at a high level at that young age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just incredible. But all the photographs in the exhibit were black and white. I can see what you mean. There's something about
black and white photograph. Just do it.
Yeah. Are you into photography at all, by the way?
I would like to be, but I'm not very good at photography. I have tried it.
Okay.
And even taken classes, but I don't have that vision that photographers have.
Oh yeah.
I do admire it. I have friends that are photographers.
Yeah.
And they do excellent work, but I'm not like that.
Yeah.
At least for me, somebody else might say different, but
oh no, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, but
it's not.
I don't think I have the eye for it.
Nah.
Cut off the head, or
Yeah, there's more to it than just pointing and shooting. Right? I think a lot of people get that mixed up. You have to compose it, and as you say, sometimes utilize depth of field to blur out the background and bring up the foreground.
Right.
There's a whole lot of things going on with photography that maybe a lot of folks don't realize. Of course, nowadays with cell phones, everybody's taking pictures of everything.
Yeah.
So speaking of technology, you mentioned earlier that you really didn't plug into the computer thing in terms of generating art.
Right.
But are you using it in any other way? Is there any use for you as an artist? Not so much to create it, but maybe, I don't know, to see how things could go, or I don't know what all.
Well, my thing of technology is, if something breaks, I take it apart and use it in assemblage.
You know who did that was Lamont Westmoreland. He had circuit boards.
Right.
In some of his works. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So when you put parts, do you do circuit boards, or what exactly do you put?
I have done circuit boards, all of Charles Dickson.
Okay.
I saw some of his pieces.
Okay.
He uses, man, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So do you have any future plans in terms of like the coming years? I know you were talking about finishing and taking those welding lessons from Charles Dickson.
Yeah.
You're going to finish that series. I mean, is it the kind of thing, by the way, that you know in advance how many pieces that are coming, or you just actually keep doing it until your body or your soul or whatever tells you, you know what, I've reached the limit, I'm going to move on now? How does it work?
I don't know, because I kind of bounce back and forth. If I get bored with one thing, then I'll switch back to something else. Like, that's why I like Basquiat, because the simplicity of his work, which is actually genius to me, and it's hard. It's hard. It's, you hear somebody say, "Oh, I could get my little nephew to do that," but it's more to it than that. And I like different techniques. I'll try anything once, if I'm good at it, And most of the things that I try are influenced by other people, that I admire, or I like their work, or that looks interesting. Let me try this, but it's hard not to do something and then somebody else say, "Well, you copied so and so,"
Right.
And to me, it's not copying; it's a tribute to that person. If you acknowledge that person in your piece, Like if I do something similar to Basquiat, I don't consider it copying it. I consider,
like a tribute, maybe.
Tribute, and that his work is so good that I want to do it. Like that.
What do you think of the artist Banksy?
Brilliant.
Okay.
That's how, because the way he can market himself, and what he gets out of it. And I think to this day, nobody's seen him. I'm not sure.
He's a mystery man.
He's a mystery man, but it's brilliant.
Oh yeah.
And I do like his work. As the girl with the balloon, and he might do a mural. He goes to, I guess, different countries and does something, but it says when art can speak to you or deliver a message, that to me that's part of being an artist. You're showing visually what people say, or what they think, or you can influence the way they think by be creating something visual.
I know some people that measure the quality of a work by the very fact that there is some kind of message. If it doesn't have any kind of message at all, to them it's like not even worth consideration. But no matter whether you agree with the message or not, I mean, it's just that the fact that it has something that kind of touches you in some way,
right.
arouses some sort of reaction.
And if you can do that for my thinking is if you can do that, you've accomplished a good piece of being an artist, or I shouldn't say piece. I'm gonna find the right word for that. That's part of who you are, you know, and you're giving your message to the world.
I know I used to do art appreciation classes in my gallery, and one of the things I used to tell everybody was, you know, obviously you're going to look at the label and try to understand the title as it relates to the piece, and you're analyzing it. But I was also telling them it might be a good idea to kind of just feel the piece. Allow your emotions to get in touch with your emotions to see how the painting actually makes you feel. Even if you're uncomfortable, I think if you end up being uncomfortable, the artist was successful because they were able to convey something that actually moved you.
Moves you.
It doesn't always have to be bright sunshine and happy butterflies and stuff like that, right? I mean, sometimes it can be kind of difficult.
Speaking of your gallery, I was in your gallery once, and George Evans had a piece, but it was just a squiggly line. But it looked like a ballet dancer, and just a line. And it was so simple, but I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
That's and George. Obviously, I'm sort of plugging previous episodes, but he was a guest as well. And George was also close to William Pajaud. And one time at the gallery, I had a show of his work and Pajaud's work, both at the same time.
I think that was a show.
That was the show you were talking about, because it got a local review, which was very unusual. I was having a hard time getting anybody to review the shows at my gallery, but it was reviewed favorably, and that was a nice thing. But you're right, he caught the movement. I'll tell you one funny story. So I was in my gallery. I had regular hours at that time. It was in Santa Monica, and I'm sitting there, and a woman walks in. And at that gallery, I don't know if you'll recall, but when you first walked in, you had to go to climb steps, right? So a lot of people put off by that, and but there was nothing I could do about it. That was there when I got the building. So the first room, I had works by Bernard Hoyes, and these were women that were dancing. In fact, the movement was conveyed. It was like 5 or 6 women that at the same time were like doing one of these numbers, right? Kind of like wavy motions. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I heard this rhythmic finger snapping. There was no music being played. You couldn't hear anything except her finger snapping. This woman was so in tune with the work of art. She literally was snapping her fingers in a rhythmic way and moving her body. I thought, oh my God, that is definitely
moving.
That's a definitely moving work of art. No question about it. So anyhow. That's cool. I'm just curious, going back to that, because I'm a drummer. I don't know if I ever conveyed that to you.
No, I didn't know that.
Since I was a little kid, I thank my parents. Looking back on it, they endured a lot of noise. And even at the very beginning, I didn't know what I was doing, so I made it worse. I'm loud and also bad at the same time. And they endured it all. But so I'm especially interested in the drums. I'm just curious to kind of go back to that bass drum. I was just wondering. So you repaired the drum head. It had a hole in it, right?
I replaced it with canvas.
Oh, that's interesting. So you stretched it over
I stretched it over the frame, and then I kind of tacked it in there. Some of the pieces were missing, so I had to improvise. But I got it on there. And
did you paint the canvas, or?
I did. I painted both sides. The one side is a collage painting, mixed media, and the other side is straight acrylic on canvas, and it's Art Blakey on both sides.
Oh my God, Art Blakey, man, another awesome drummer. Wow, that's cool. And is there anything aside from the drum? Is there stuff attached to the bass drum itself, or is it just the drum by itself?
Just the drum by itself, and it had a motor that's it sat on a motor, and it kind of spun around in a circle.
Oh, okay. That's cool. It has a neat element to it, so you can see the back at the same time without moving.
I have a guitar, and I made a juke joint, and just the front of it, and I cut the guitar out and made a building on the face of the guitar face. Wow. And, it's got window and a door, bench sitting on the porch. And,
that sounds really cool.
But I wanted to put some people in there, so I painted some people and put them in, but there was no movement in there. I got to think of something. And so I thought, well, I'll put a video in there. And a friend of mine, Emily, she works at Caltech, and so I called her up, told her the idea I had, and she told me what to do, and she put it together for me. And when you walk up, it starts playing blues music, and the video comes on, and it's in a loop, and you can see in the doorway, you can see people dancing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. So it's like motion activated? As soon as you get close enough, it'll actually start doing it.
Start working.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
And musically, obviously, the musicians you're naming are mostly jazz musicians, and you just mentioned blues.
Blues, yeah.
So those are your two favorite genres of music, would you say?
Those were the two. They're not my they are my favorite. I grew up with, my dad is from Gulfport, Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
And he's naturally a blues man. Oh, yeah. And my mom was more jazz.
Oh, okay.
On her side of the family, one of the relatives played with Louis Armstrong.
Oh, no.
And one played with the bass player for the original Nat King Cole trio.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's the thing. I never will forget that I was watching Oscar Peterson being interviewed, and he was telling everybody that everybody, rightfully so, respected Nat Cole's singing.
Yeah.
And what they didn't realize is
he sounded just like Nat King Cole.
He was amazing as a pianist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they said, and this coming from Oscar Peterson. That's a big compliment, right?
Yeah. Oscar Peterson sounds like Nat King Cole when he sings.
When he sings, right? Yeah.
But he's amazing piano player.
Oh my God, really talented.
Yeah, I had a commission earlier last year for Oscar Peterson painting. And it's in the Portland Piano Company. It's in their showroom.
Portland, Oregon?
Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Portland, Oregon.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So if you were to go into that store, you would see this image.
It. Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
It's in their showroom. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have any other favorite musicians that?
Yeah, Dexter Gordon.
Oh yeah,
Dexter Gordon. Just something about that sound. You know, it's so smooth.
Yeah.
Especially his ballads. I love his ballads.
Oh yeah. And didn't you have something to do with the Playboy Jazz Festival at some point?
Yeah. I did a painting for them of Elvin Jones.
Ah, another excellent drummer.
Yeah. And every year, for the last, I think it's 26 or 27 years, I do the Vancouver, Washington Jazz Festival.
Oh.
Yeah, and I take my work down there, and so when I do their posters every year. And
excellent.
Yeah. And I got a few collectors down there. My collectors, the Kissingers, they have, we counted them, 45 pieces of my work.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they have.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it shocked me.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in, their whole house is just
covered with it.
Yeah. They're both PhD music professors and musicians too. They're excellent musicians too.
Okay.
But they host the Vancouver Wine and Jazz Festival every year. every August. So
every August. I was going to say maybe people can be tuned in and make a trip up there. That's is event. Yeah. Am I right? It's Vancouver, Washington, or?
Right across the bridge from Portland.
Right across the bridge from Portland. Yeah. Okay, please keep that in mind, your listeners and viewers. I've never been there. I would love to. Love to experience it.
Come up. I'll let you know.
Thank you. Please let me know. Yeah. Absolutely, because I've been to the Playboy Jazz Festival numerous times and a few other festivals, but never the Vancouver one.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Over the years, I just watched them grow bigger and bigger.
Oh, that's always good to hear.
Yeah.
And is it considered a jazz festival or a music festival or
jazz festival?
Jazz festival, because I know one of the criticisms of the Playboy Jazz Festival,
right,
they were like going outside the boundaries of jazz.
I was one of their harshest critics.
Yeah. Right. Because the next thing you know, they got all kinds of, which is, I can appreciate all types of music, but I think you have to change the name though if you're
right.
If you're gonna put that.
I understand it. It's financial.
Oh
reasons,
no, they got to sell the tickets.
They got to sell the tickets,
and people are there to party, man.
Yeah,
they're ready to jam. I never forget one time I was there and Nina Simone came out, right? And she's by herself and she's playing.
Was there
you were there to sing, so you know what happened.
I know what happened.
Oh my God. Yeah. She's playing the piano and singing. People are just chatting and drinking wine and doing whatever. And she stopped and scolded them. Yeah. Yeah. So anyhow,
I was glad
that she did that, right?
Yeah, I was
because it was disrespectful. I think that I think you owe it to the performer and the musician to give them your attention. And not ruin it for somebody sitting next to you.
Yeah. Right? Especially with her,
she's a giant. Yeah. Or was a giant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Sam, if anybody wanted to follow up, do you have like a website or a handle for, all the social media? If you'd like, I want to give you the opportunity to tell everybody.
Yeah. My website is SamuelPaceArt.com.
Okay, SamuelPaceArt.com.
And my Facebook is Sam Pace Art.
Sam Pace Art.
Yeah. And my Instagram is SamPace.7.
Ah, okay.
And I got that by accident, just pushing the wrong button.
Okay. So that's the thing. No one can look at that and read something into it. Right, it was just a mistake. Right, And one last quick question. What is Space 44? Is there more to it than that? Can you help me out with that?
I sure can. Okay. My last name is Pace.
Okay.
First name is Sam.
Oh.
Initial. And I used to put the dot in there when I started signing my painting. But then I just stopped,
Okay.
And the 44, when I got my first email, I was 44.
Oh.
I couldn't think of anything else.
Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining it, too.
So I've had this that email since I was 44 years old.
Oh, okay. And you have your own studio, I'm assuming. In
LA?
It's
very small. It's in Altadena. I live in Altadena, and it's in my backyard.
Oh, okay.
And it's a little shed in my backyard.
Oh, okay.
I work out of there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember Pajaud. He converted his garage into his studio.
I spent a lot of time there.
In that garage, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of Charles Dickson, man, he had that wonderful, Charles Dickson gave him as a gift this table. Did you seen that art table?
Yeah. I was there the day he gave it to him.
Totally amazing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Pajaud was floored.
Yeah.
And I would have been too if I was the recipient of that. Yeah. Gosh. Anyway, Sam, I want to thank you so much, man, for spending the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah.
I feel honored.
Oh, yeah. I do too. And I want everybody to check up on Sam and his work. And thank you all for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.